All right. Happy Tuesday, May 25th, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jonathan Bernasso. This is a power hitter training every week coming to you live Tuesdays, 10 a.m. Pacific, bringing lots of value and knowledge and training and nuggets to help panel the planet and do an awesome job helping other families, helping our colleagues, helping our teammates, sell more solar and network more. So today, we're just going to hand it right off to someone that I've known for quite some time now. Just to give a little context, you all know that I really advocate a networking, referral-based business through social media, BNI, Chamber of Commerce, Your Sphere, 5,000 Friends, LinkedIn, and I'm really obsessed with this thing recently. That's your network is your net worth. But it's really like some of the richest people have the widest sphere. They have the widest reach, right? They know the most people. Think of the most successful, wealthiest people, that their reach and their sphere is just so wide. And I think BNI, Business Network International, is a perfect fit as one of those pieces of the pie, right? It's essential, like your financial investments, you should have different pieces of the pie. BNI is one of those for your networking, your referral, your professional business, your public speaking. And all in all, I spent over 2 years with BNI, still part of BNI. Power is a medallion member of BNI. We get special perks on that. And we're going to have Marisa and Zach share a little bit later on their success. We've already had 2 people share so far. So I have the pleasure to introduce Michelle, who Charles Thompson and I helped bridge the gap between Power and BNI. And she's really just going to tell us a little bit about BNI, how to find the right chapter, and then second half will be some nuggets on being successful with BNI, closing more deals, having more sales. And in my second year of BNI, I closed 13 deals in 1 year. So not to steal your thunder, Michelle, but we're so glad to have you here. And thank you so much.
That's okay. I don't mind having Thunderstool when it's all about testimonials. So I really appreciate that. So while I'm getting this set up, because I'm going to change it to the slideshow view here, what I would like to share with you is a little bit about who I am and why I am very passionate about BNI as well. So I actually started off as a member in a chapter in East Lansing, Michigan. So yes, I am a Michigan State fan. But with that being said, I absolutely love BNI. So I started in October of 2000 and I had the financial advisor position. So as you may know, for you to trust a financial advisor with all of your money, all of your savings, you do have to have a high level of trust. So it took me about 9 months to get my first really good referral. So I'm telling you that now because BNI is not a get rich quick scheme. Although some of you, and you've even heard, you might get one of your first referrals right away, maybe even before you join and become a member. Or it might take you 3, 6, 9 months. But it all depends on how some of the things that you're doing to build your visibility within the chapter, to build your credibility with your fellow BNI members, and ultimately reach the profitability that all of us are looking for. So today, I want to share with you part of the BNI Medallion program. So what you get with it and what that means. And again, make sure you thank Jonathan, because Jonathan is actually who made this referral happen to Charles, and we were able to work out BNI working with Power. So a lot of thanks is definitely to Jonathan. And he was referred to me from the executive director where he was in the chapter. So Mike Adre actually referred me to Jonathan. So those are how referrals work. And now all of you get to benefit from it as well. So the biggest part that I think you will find beneficial as an individual who might be looking for a BNI chapter is our BNI chapter placement concierge. We have a special website, and I will share it with you shortly, that is designed just for those of you from Power. When you enter your information, then someone from our chapter placement team or the local executive director, regional director will be reaching out to you also, but it's also very much a self-service location. And I'll show you that, as I said, in a moment. Those of you that are already BNI members, thank you so much. A lot of you are newer because we just started this relationship, and we definitely have grown with power. You have access to BNI Business Builder. Okay, so bnibusinessbuilder.com. As a member, you have access to that. You have access to all the BNI Business Booster webinar series. Those are great because in Business Builder, you're going to find a lot of tips and tricks of how to get more out of your BNI membership, where in your Business Booster webinars, those are really business-based topics. So you'll find a lot of inspiration and great stories there as well. We have local trainings. Depending on which region you're in, you'll want to make sure that you're paying attention to your regional page, their Facebook pages, their training schedules. And then we also have a lot of special trainings that we do just for BNI Medallion program companies. So we offered a networking up option, which was a workshop that Dr. Ivan Meisner did. Jenny, who is here today as well, some of you I think participated, in fact, were a part of the Networking Essentials. It was a 3-part webinar series talking about building your visibility, credibility, and profitability, both in BNI and even outside of BNI. So there's a lot of special trainings that we do for you because Power is part of the Medallion program. For those of you that are not yet members, you get access to BNI Business Booster. That is also an educational area, but all you will find out in there is the the ones that were recorded, BNI Business Booster webinar series. So you will find that in there. We also offer special trainings to you as well. So all of you would have been able to participate in Jenny's Networking Essentials series, the Networking Up, and so forth. Some of the other things we've offered, conference discounts, and there's other things that are happening along the way as well. So these are some of our early bird pricing for our BNI USA National Conference, which happened last week. You'll see some stuff coming up for global, and you'll see other events throughout the year. So the BNI Medallion program is really designed as a value add perks program. It is not a discount program as far as membership is concerned. So why would you want to think about becoming a BNI member? Well, when we ask business owners and sales representatives what are their biggest problems, they tend to say one of these 6 things, or sometimes all of these 6 things. So the first is not enough business, or some of the times it's inconsistent marketing efforts and or the results that come from those marketing efforts. Not only am I head of business development for BNI Global, I'm also an executive director for BNI Alaska. So I continue to own my own BNI region. And what I see a lot of times, especially in Alaska, because it's so weather dependent on certain things, is some of my members will do a really, really good job of all this marketing up front. They'll get all the quotes and referrals and stuff that they need to do. Then they get busy actually doing the work. In the meantime, they stop focusing a little bit on filling that pipeline. So BNI will help to even out that pipeline a little bit more so that you're always consistently doing some type of marketing efforts. Another one, not enough time to do everything. I don't know about you, but I feel like sometimes being in COVID, people expect you to always answer and be around and respond because they think, hey, you're just home, right? Versus actually knowing you're probably actually busier now. Not enough resources to possibly scale your business, thinking at what point should I hire a team member? Then that leads into, can I find the right team member? And then of course, retaining existing clients. So BNI, with some of our benefits, of course, helps to solve a lot of those problems. First and foremost, you create a large marketing team for yourself, and I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail with a really good example. You do get exclusive marketing rights. So we only allow 1 person per profession into any given chapter. So that being said, we do encourage you to join your local Chamber of Commerce, or if you're under 40, go join your JCI, or Rotaries, Kiwanis, all the service clubs. Typically, though, you will find your competitors potentially there. With BNI, we only allow 1 person per profession, so you're eliminating your competitors from your particular BNI chapter. Having that continuous source of new business, as I mentioned earlier, we provide a ton of education and training. I know Power does as well, and they do a great job. Not every company does. So for a lot of our colleagues, they're really good at doing their business. They're not always really good at marketing their business and talking about the business, or better yet, teaching others how to talk about them and their business, right? So teaching others how to refer to you. So we spend a lot of time with education and training to teach you those skills to help you really exceed your goals. And then, of course, you build long-lasting relationships. As I said, I started in BNI in October of 2000. One of my mentors came from my BNI chapter way back then. She's long since retired, but her and I, even still today, are good friends. And if I need her to ask her a question, she's always there for me. So you'll build some of those long-lasting relationships. So the next slide, I'm a little nervous to share with you because sometimes averages might set false expectations, but they also might give you some vision of what to shoot for. So remember how I told you it took me about 9 months to get my first referral. Keep in mind, when we look at averages, some of these averages come from members that have been members for 3, 5, 10, 15, 25, 36 years, right? So as you are in the chapter longer, you'll find you get more and more referrals. So that being said, let me tell you some of the averages. In 2019, the average member in the United States reported getting over $45,000 of business generated from their BNI referrals. And surprisingly enough, in 2020, the number actually went up. Even though we had to transition from being face-to-face meetings to actually every meeting in the world went to online, at least for a period of time. Now, some are starting to go back in the United States, but it did go up. The average value of a seat in a chapter went up. And again, what they say about averages, I could have my head in the freezer, my feet in the oven. On average, my body temperature might be okay, but I might not feel fine, right? So thinking about these though, even if you only got 1/10 of that, it's still a pretty good return on your initial investment in that first year. So the average return was 68 times what a person pays to be part of BNI. So it's a really, really good return of investment. Where else could you get those returns? We haven't seen anything. So let's talk about what does BNI actually look like and what are you doing in BNI? And then we'll talk about how to use this strategy. So if this is you and you're trying to get in front of all of these people, right? All of these prospects, you're making a lot of energy and effort, and that's still good. So, but this could be like direct mail, this could be cold calling, this could be, door to door, shaking hands, kissing babies kind of thing, right? That is what you are doing in general if you're just out marketing on your own. So what we want to do is we want to put a circle, we want to enclose you with a group of trusted business professionals that already have a relationship with the people you want to get in front of. And then you're going to build that relationship with that trusted group of professionals. You're going to be selling through your members, not necessarily always to your members, although some will probably become clients as well. But you want to sell through them. So you're building that enclosed group of people that they have your back, you have their back, but you all have each other's contacts that you want to get in front of. So BNI works if you treat it as your work. The most successful members use BNI instead of just going to BNI. Now, what do I mean by that? There are 2 things you can always control. You can control your attitude and your activity, okay? So when you're in sales, which I hate to break it to you if you didn't already know this, you're all in sales, then you can control your attitude and your activities. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, you are more than welcome to. If you want to write it down, I would encourage you to write it down, post it somewhere, maybe right over your screen every day above your computer. I have mine on my office door. Are you doing the activities necessary to get the results you say you desire? Okay, so are you doing the activities necessary to get the results that you say you desire? All right. We'll come back to that one. You'll see this more than once. It's one of my favorite things to ask people. So let's talk about if you want to join BNI, what do you have to do? Number 1, you have to have business in place, which all of you do. You're with Power, so you have a business in place. You do have to be willing to commit to the weekly meetings. Yes, they are weekly. Now, I know initially sometimes that commitment seems so big, but we have over 276,000 people around the world every week making this happen. So I believe in all of you that are here today. You can make this happen too. You have to make the investment into the relationships. As I mentioned earlier, it's not a get rich quick scheme. You really do have to have that giver's gain philosophy. It's built on farming, not just hunting. Okay, so if you're interested in finding a chapter, I'm going to show you something that you can do now. If you have your smartphone, pull it out, aim your camera at it. This will take you to the BNI partner page with Power. It's branded just for those of you from Power. What you'll do is, and if you are on your smartphone watching this, the website address you want to go to is bnipartner.com/power. All right, and for you guys and gals, I don't need to spell power the right way. You should all know how to do that, right? So what it'll look like is you'll go to this page. Under the concierge section, it'll ask you for your first name, last name, email, phone, and zip code. That is all you have to enter. As soon as you enter that, you're going to hit submit to the concierge. That will then go to our chapter placement team. We will work with you to try to find a chapter in your area that has an opening. All right. However, remember how I said it's also self-serve, so you don't need to wait on us, although we usually have a pretty good turnaround, but you don't have to wait on us. You can immediately, once you hit submit, a map is going to come up based off of the zip code that you searched. Now, initially, it's going to show all the chapters in your area that are available. A couple things I will point out to you. See these chapters that have the red line on those? Those are established chapters. This dark gray, so like this BNI Prestige, that's a new chapter that is forming. Now, there are some major benefits of being in the ground up, of building a chapter. Number one, you get to help put people in the room you want in the room. So if there's a realtor you really want to work with, start your own chapter, right? Because most realtors are locked out of every other chapter. So there's some benefit to building your own. You can also control some of the trades professionals. Who else do you want into that room? So if you're interested in either joining a forming chapter, or if you want to just start your own from the ground up, you can let the chapter placement team know and they will be happy to work with you. There's definitely benefits to doing that. That being said, there's also benefits to joining an existing chapter, because you walk into a room of already, 20, 30, 40, 50 people as well. So the largest one in the country right now is 151 members. That doesn't always mean that's where you want to be. Sometimes those close-knit, smaller relationships are a good thing too. So bigger isn't always better. You really have to look at the group of people who are best for you. Or if they're not in the room, who do you want to bring in? Now, once you see all the chapters, you're going to click on the little drop-down box and you're going to change it to solar. What'll happen is any chapter that already has a solar professional in it will go away, because you can't join that chapter because somebody else has that position. So this is where I would have you focus. And then once those ones come up, select 1, 2, maybe 3 of those to go visit. And all you're going to do at that point is simply click visit chapter. All right. It'll also show you who some of the professionals are, the time, the day, where they're meeting. So for example, with this one, they're currently still using BNI Online, which is run through Zoom. But normally they would meet at the 1701 Rock Springs Road. So you can kind of tell, like, is it going to be close if the chapter goes back to in person? And as soon as you click the visit the chapter, you will get a visitor registration form where you'll put in your email, confirm who you are, and then you'll be registered for that chapter. Okay. Once you visit a couple chapters, or you know what, honestly, you might visit the first chapter and be like, this is the chapter. This is where I belong. That's fine too. You will then submit your application. Don't start selling to the members right away. Okay, so that's one little tip. Decide which chapter you're going to apply to, and then turn in your application. Typically, most of our chapters in the United States are all done online. Okay. Pricing does vary a little bit region to region. It's pretty close, but it does vary slightly. Typically, those that are using the online applications, once your application is approved by the chapter's membership committee, then you will get a thing saying, congratulations, you're approved. Now click here to make a payment. For some of you, that might be different than the experience you had, because before we used to always collect the payment up front. With online applications, we are waiting until it's approved by the membership committee in most regions. Then after that, you will get inducted. So assuming you're approved, of course. That is pretty much how the process works up until the approval. All right. Now I'm going to go into, and if you have questions, feel free to type them in the chat as we go along. At the end, I'll come back. We'll try to answer all of those. I'll have Jenny maybe help me out of making sure we don't miss any, or she might even answer them in the chat as well. Feel free to message Jenny right now too. She's been around with BNI for a while too, so she's a very good resource for all of you. So now you've been accepted to BNI. Now what do you do? Well, that's where VCP falls into place, which is visibility, credibility, and profitability. There's also the power of one, which we're going to go into a little bit more in detail, following up and tracking. Okay. So visibility, you must be present to win, period. You've got to show up to your weekly meeting. Power of one, we're going to talk about that. Remember this little phrase here? Are you doing the activities necessary to get the results you say you desire? Power of one is all about activity. Okay. It's also sometimes in some regions referred to as member traffic lights. The reason for it is we kind of go green, yellow, red, gray. So you may hear power of one, or you may hear traffic lights. They're essentially the same thing, calculated the same way. It's just some regions, different, I don't know, dialect, I guess we could call it. So let's talk about the power of one. This is truly the member experience. You want to be in the green. Now, I will tell you, it's a 6-month report. So if you've been a member for a while, 6 months or more, and let's say you're in the gray, you're probably not going to get in the green next month. Now, if you're a newer member, it's easier because it's only dividing by however many weeks you've been a member. So sometimes as a newer member, you might swing those scores and colors a little bit more. But what it's really designed for is consistency. Okay, so one of the things to build a successful business is consistency. So in order to be in the green, you need to average 1 chapter education unit per week. This is listening to like a BNI podcast. I'll show you this in a minute, a little bit more details of that. In fact, all of you that are members here today, at the end, you can also submit 1 chapter education unit for yourself for being here with me today. Okay. Doing 1 one-to-one per week. That's where you and another BNI member will meet to talk a little bit more about each other's businesses, to build that credibility with each other, to teach each other what should you be looking for and listening for. And when you see or hear it, what should you say to try to refer that fellow member? In the meantime, you're teaching them the same thing about you. Ultimately, averaging about 1 referral per week as well, and bringing 1 visitor to the chapter per month on average. So basically that's our power of one. And of course, showing up. So you must be present to win is the first and foremost. That's not even on the slide because that's kind of an expectation right from the get-go. So let's talk about the chapter education units. BNI Business Builder, for those of you that are members, you can find so much stuff in here. You may hear some members, some seasoned or tenured members talking about BNI University. That's the same thing. We used to call it BNI University. But BNI Business Builder is really what they're talking about. You can go to bnibusinessbuilder.com. You can download the app. You have to be a BNI member, though, to get access to this. So we have the BNI podcast. There's a new one that comes out every week. We have the Power of One podcast. If you want some sales tips and tricks and just some, I don't know, sometimes an occasional kick in the seat to get moving, the BNI Power of One podcast is a really good podcast. The BNI Business Builder webinar series, on and on and on. Every week, a chapter education coordinator gives a brief education moment. There's so much stuff in the Business Builder. So the goal is to do about an hour a week. And for me, I used to do it listening in the car a lot of times. I had a half-hour drive to my BNI chapter, so I would usually listen to a podcast or two on the way to my chapter, and then I'd fill in another couple throughout the week just when I was driving. So that's how you can easily do that. As I mentioned, the BNI Business Booster Series, this is a free series we're offering right now. Typically, it's about $99 is what we used to charge for these. You can get it for free. Okay, so if you want to sign up for SuccessNet, there's that website there. Go ahead and take a quick screenshot. But again, we have that ready for you. Also, you might want to pull out your phone because I'm going to give you something, whether you're a BNI member or not a BNI member. The next couple of QR codes I have for you will teach you this. So the first one, the one with the Business Booster series logo in it, these are the upcoming webinars that are coming up that you can attend live. Okay, so you can attend these live. Those of you that are not yet BNI members, you're going to want to scan the second QR code that says BNI Business Booster webinars. That's going to teach you how to sign up for an account, no cost, because we're partnered with Power, at bnibusinessbooster.com. Okay, you're going to sign up through that. Members don't do this because you already have access through Business Builder, but non-members, you're going to want to do this, and you can sign up for an account at no cost to you. And what'll happen is you'll get access to all these former Business Booster webinars we've created. Okay, so it'll give you what we call the Scoots platform. So you can go back and you can watch Mike Rayburn, Jack Canfield, Lisa Nichols. The list goes on and on and on. Okay, you'll also then, by doing this, you get access to the Scoots platform, and there's many other courses on there as well. I will send these PowerPoints as a PDF to Jonathan after that. He can also forward out to all of you. The next thing is making sure you're doing a one-to-one. Schedule at least one one-to-one every single week. You don't want to sell to each other. Remember, you're selling through your members, not always to your members, okay? You also don't want to necessarily talk to them about any other business opportunity unless they ask you. So just pay attention, be cognizant of you're building a long-term relationship, not a quick sale. In this case, you don't always want to get a yes or a no, right? Like this is one of those cases where a maybe when you're meeting with a fellow BNI member is okay, all right? I would highly encourage you to use the BNI biography sheet as well as the gains exchange. Those are two forms that we have in Business Builder that you have access to. If you have questions, you can ask me afterwards for those as well. But it's really, it'll keep you on track. You don't want to just go to lunch and chit chat, right? Like you're doing this because you're trying to build your business. So when you use the biography sheet and the gains exchange, it'll keep you on track to really focus on the profitability piece, right? You're not joining just because you need to add a bunch of friends, although you will find friendships in BNI. You're becoming a member because you want to grow your business. They are too. So try to avoid some of that, maybe unnecessary, just fluffy chit chat. Instead, yes, you want to get to know each other, but then you also want to build and trust each other. Okay. So a good networker has 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth, used proportionately, right? So think about that as you're building those relationships with your members. Ultimately, you want to pass a lot of referrals as well. So remember the goal, if you do one-to-ones and you get to know a fellow member and know what a good referral for them is, chances are if you're doing at least one-to-one every week, you're probably going to find it really easy to average passing 1 or more referrals per week. Typically, I say if you're doing a good one-to-one, you should both walk out with 3 solid referrals or a strategy for 3 solid referrals. All right. So ultimately, passing at least 1 referral per member per week is the goal. That way you can get the Giver's Gain Award, hopefully, and have your name right there for the most referrals given. And then, of course, we like you to bring at least 1 visitor per month. Why are visitors so important? Here's the deal. Even if they don't become members, they might buy from you. So if you're bringing a visitor, they might buy from your mortgage broker in the chapter. They might, need a new chiropractor. You're then still adding value because that chiropractor looks and says, oh, Bill is who brought Sally, who is now a new patient of mine, even though Sally didn't become a BNI member. It's still, I would have never gotten Sally as a client or as a patient had Bill not brought her, right? What we know is on average, visitors spend about $1,500 with chapter members. So ideally, you want to be bringing visitors to your chapter every single month. So let's talk about why I said sometimes it's critical or maybe even more important to start your own chapter or be part of a smaller chapter so you can build that chapter and build your contact sphere a little bit more. So if you look, we usually talk about something called the 8x6 for a chapter. The goal is to build balance among a chapter, meaning We have several people in events, several people in marketing, several people in business service, several people in real estate, trades, health and beauty. If we had a bunch of people in trades and only one person in events, the trades guys and gals are going to do a great job and feel like, hey, BNI is amazing. Where the events person might be like, yeah, I'm not getting as many referrals, right? So if we try to balance out the chapter, and it never works perfect where you have, 8 from each of those categories, but the more balanced it is, the better. So if we look at the trades, one of the things you are going to want to look at is you're going to want to really make sure that your chapter, the chapter you're looking at, either already has a good, strong trades group, or maybe a weak one if you want to bring in your own trades guys and gals. So there's, again, pros and cons to both of those. The chapter placement team will be able to help you talk through those, or your local executive director, or you can talk to Jonathan or myself as well. Okay. How do you invite people? Well, if you're a BNI member and you haven't been taught this yet, I would also suggest taking a picture of this. It's called the GRIP script. Okay. Are you looking to grow your business? Great. Do you prefer referrals or cold calls? Even if you like cold calls, everybody wants referrals, right? I like cold calling. I think it's fun, but I'm probably one of those scary few that actually do have fun with it. But I still, even though I like it, I would prefer referrals every single day of the week. Once they say yes, that they prefer referrals, then you're going to say, great, I'd love to introduce you to people I know, like, and trust. Are you available next Wednesday at 8:30 a.m.? We're meeting online. I'd love to send you an invite. Notice how I didn't say, hey, you want to come join BNI? I didn't say that, right? I also didn't even say BNI in my script. Why? Because some people hear something completely different. Like, all you want to do is get them there and then introduce them to people. So it's actually a lot of fun. And then remember how I said tracking is also important? All of you should be using the BNI Connect mobile app or BNI Connect. There's some awesome tools in here, especially if you use it the way you should. So there's Jeremy Walsh does some training on this. We'll do some extra training of how to use BNI Connect a little bit more as members as well. There's some in the Business Builder. You can go back and watch. But what's cool is you can actually click on your referrals and see all the referrals you've ever received from your fellow BNI members. So you can go back, like, let's say somebody says, hey, you know what, call me, Jonathan, give me a call in 3 months. I'm just not ready to talk right now, right? Now, in 3 months, you can go back and be like, oh, here it is. I have access. Like, I didn't just lose the, Post-it note with the sheet of paper that I wrote on, or the text message that somebody sent me. Like, it's there, it's in the system. So it's really awesome. You can also look at, over the course of time, how many one-to-ones you've done, who you've done one-to-ones with. So if you're trying to, meet with everybody in the chapter, you can keep a running tally. It does really help. So tracking is key. And we're tracking our activities, which, by the way, are you doing the activities necessary to get the results you say you desire? You can imagine what my kids hear on a regular basis, right? So if you are still interested in becoming a BNI member, we'll definitely open up to questions. We'll hear from Marisa and Zach. But if you're not a member yet, we would love for you to visit a chapter, scan this QR code, or you can just enter it into your URL, web browser, whatever it is, bnipartner.com/power. And with that, today's preparation determines tomorrow's achievement. So I will stop here and open it up for questions, Jonathan, if we have time.
Awesome, Michelle. A lot of great information there. Really appreciate it. I think we can do a quick testimonial or two with Marisa and Zach. I know we already had 2 people give testimonials, and I've having this gentleman, Nick, even message me about his success as well. But and then if you guys do have questions, please type them in the chat box. And then if you are in a BNI, I'd love to know the name of your BNI and the city and state. If you can type that in, please, that'd be great. So Marisa, if we can start with you, that would be fantastic. There you go.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And good morning, Jonathan. Thank you for allowing me to speak. But yeah, when it comes to BNI, I mean, Michelle, you pretty much wrapped it up. I mean, obviously you're with BNI, so you know exactly what to say. But my name is Marisa Fletcher. I have been with BNI since November of last year. I did, like Michelle suggested, and I was a member of a founding chapter. So we were brand new and we were forming. And once we got, I believe it was 14 members, we went ahead and launched that chapter. We're a virtual chapter, only online. And I mean, it's been really, really, it's had really, really good results for me. I didn't anticipate getting any business for the first year. I've been a part of networking chapters in the past, and it's all about building relationships, right? So in solar, it's one of those industries where if you don't know the person, you got to build that trust in order for the client to want to go with you and want to sign with you and all that kind of thing. So I was just focused on building trust. When I started my BNI, my goal was to network and grow my group through ambassadors. And so that's literally what I spoke about and what my 30 seconds are about and what I speak about. But through doing that, I've already closed 2 transactions completely from start to install, which I was not anticipating. There's 4 more proposals that I have out there that I know that they're gonna close with me once they get to know me a little bit more. They're in outside chapters. But just like Michelle said, you really have to work the system. There are meetings every week. They're very much worth it. And then you do your one-to-one. I mean, they're really, really worth it. Just to give you guys an example, I've got 4 one-to-ones scheduled today because I do my one-to-ones on 2 days of the week. So I've got 4 scheduled today. I had one just prior to this conversation of a company, a construction company in another chapter. They have 4 roofing crews and they're doing mad roofing jobs and they have no solar rep at all. So I'm introducing them to power, and I'm, they're anticipating hiring someone just on the solar team to use the power platform and to grow their business that way. Of course, I'm going to build that relationship. It's not going to just all happen at that one time, but that's the kind of potential that BNI has to offer if you work it the way it's supposed to be worked. So, I mean, yeah, I've got those deals done. I've got 5 ambassadors through BNI. I've got 12 more that are just waiting, and to get to know me better and see how it works before they decide that they want to give it a go, but I have nothing but positive things to say. And then on another note, like I said, I didn't plan to get any business the first year. My goal was to learn how to speak, how to present, how to give my 30-second commercial. That was my goal. And in doing that and in learning how to do that, that's where the business came from. So, I mean, if you don't get anything out of the first year, that is totally okay, because you're going to learn how to speak. You're going to learn how to give that elevator pitch that they talk about, and you're going to see that business start to grow like Jonathan did. I anticipate, my just regular deals in my pipeline to grow year 2 and beyond. So yeah, I have nothing but positive things to say about BNI. And right before I go, I'll give you guys my last 30-second commercial, then I'll be quiet. But the last 30-second commercial that I wrote sounds like this. Who do you know that can spare 20 minutes to learn how to make an extra $1,000 to $2,000 per month? Power has built a business model that allows others to obtain financial independence while also having a positive impact on the environment through renewable energy and using the power of the sun. This week, my ask is to meet your friend or family member that works in a sales position, such as alarm, ADT, car sales, loan officers. Yes, anyone in sales. Thank you so much. My name is Marisa Fletcher, King Solar Pros, where we live, love, and panel the planet. So prior November, I couldn't do that, guys. So yeah, BNI, thumbs up, way to go. Thank you.
That was awesome, Marisa.
Oh my goodness. You're awesome, Marisa. Love working with you. You're high energy. You just do it. Doesn't matter what's in front of you. You just go out and do it. And I love so many things that you said there. 1 or 2 things that popped out for me. The fact that you don't always need a homeowner as a referral. Sometimes a roofer is a great referral, because the people in BNI, they know a roofer, they know a pool cleaner, they know an electrician, they know a top realtor, right? And they're totally willing to help introduce you to that person. So it's not always selling the room, it's selling through them, getting to know their networks, which BNI teaches. And the fact that you said public speaking, that's what I told myself. I just sell 1 deal all year. We make thousands of dollars, by the way. And I get to work on my public speaking, stand in front of a room and get to know other people. That will be a success. And wake up early and go to the meeting and not stay out late the night before. And, the first time I saw BNI, I didn't, the amount of work and effort every week was daunting, but I'm convinced it's one of the best things I've ever done. Michelle, did you have any feedback for Marisa there?
No, I loved it. And in fact, you mentioned on some of those intangible benefits that come alongside of it, the public speaking skills, even just learning how to build relationships. Sometimes it's even thinking about a default referral. So looking at the golden goose versus the golden egg, looking at that roofing company versus just the transactional. Again, me coming from financial services, it's similar, right? So if you think about power, let's say you're talking to a client, someone just, hired you, they bought the solar system or solar panels and all of that kind of stuff. They had it implemented. They love you. That doesn't mean they owe you referrals. They paid you for the product, right? Now, just doing a good job, that's what they're expecting that. Now, if you ask for referrals, some people might be like, yeah, I don't really give referrals out, right? But you could say, hey, listen, I noticed while I was here, your paint job in your house looks amazing. Who did that work? They will always cough up a referral to another business professional, right? Like they're always going to do that kind of stuff. Or if you say, hey, and depending on your state, maybe there's a credit, like a tax credit of some sort. Maybe say, you know what? Because of the tax credit, I've been trying to talk to more CPAs. Do you mind if I ask you, who do you use to do your taxes? They'll always cough up that person, right? They might not give you the referral to their best friend. They'll tell you who their accountant is, right? So sometimes thinking about how can you get to that golden goose versus just always those transactions. Use that as your fallback, right? So yeah, absolutely. First ask for the transactional referrals because that gets you the money now, but start building that pipeline for that delayed gratification and the money later.
That's awesome. And I'll share it one more time. I have a Google document. It only has a few 30-second commercial or introduction. So if you're in BNI or thinking of joining and you want to add a commercial, 30-second commercial in there, it's just a document for the team to give some examples that we can use. So.
Yep, and I threw my presentation in the chat too. So you have the PDFs of all the
nice
PowerPoint slides in there too.
Okay, cool. And then I know we had one more person that wanted to share, Zach Haynes, a mentor in Northern California. And thank you again to our mentor, Marisa, who also has a real estate background. Zach as well, I think, has real estate background. He's crushing it. He just closed a 18 kilowatt system last night.
It was only 17.2.
Oh, okay. 17.2 kilowatt system. Congratulations. You want to tell us a little bit about your experience with BNI, Zach?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to start off by thanking you, Jonathan, for even recommending that to me. I'm not really big into joining groups to try to get my name out there. I really just like to stick to referrals and past clients and things like that. But, getting started in solar, I really, when you're starting in a new industry, I really just thought, how could I get more exposure? Right. And I've always been a really low overhead type of business guy. And there is a fee to join BNI. And so I figured by your recommendation, I'll go check it out, take a look, see what it's all about. Well, it's a few $100s to join BNI and for a year. And then it's like 50% discounts if you join 2 years. And so I realized quickly, well, if I spend maybe $1,000 to join for 2 years, I should at least get one deal in 2 years. And with our commissions being, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, the ROI on it by itself was just a no-brainer. And if I didn't get one deal in 2 years from BNI, then I have to look in the mirror and there's something wrong with me. But I really had a lot of success with it right off the bat. There was actually a solar guy that was in the group I joined for about 2 years before I joined. And so there's a couple people that already had solar with them, but I just kept doing my pitch, my elevator pitch, got to know some of the members, did some one-to-ones. And really with BNI, the warm referral aspect is what makes it so much more valuable, because we can meet people on the street or meet people, here and there, doing online marketing, and they don't really know you, right? But these people in BNI already have a trusted relationship with their client, and their client is asking them to refer them a solar professional. And because as competitive as solar is these days, getting that warm handoff is so crucial to being able to get the close, because again, they're already being referred to by somebody they trust, right? And so my approach from BNI was just, hey, do my elevator pitch. And when I had my 8 minutes, I would show them real hard examples of, hey, look, this is a client that I closed. Their average PG&E bill was $320. I got them down to $160 a month. I'm literally saving 50% on their bills. And then in my one-to-ones, I talk to people. I say, hey, you know, I know there's a lot of solar companies out there. I would love to earn your trust since you're just now getting to know me. I would love to show you my process and how I work solar and my educational process. And I have a pretty thorough script and presentation. I know you do as well, Bernas. So I've seen Jarrett's as well. And my goal is hey, look, I don't want to sell you on solar. Let me just show you what I do so you can feel confident to refer business to me. And taking that approach, I actually closed 3 people within my BNI chapter that already had a previous solar company in the chapter before I got in there. But because I took the time to just educate, you know, I was able to close some members in there. And then of course I've gotten a handful of referrals as well. And now I've been in BNI for about 15 months. Best decision, best money I've ever spent.
Awesome. Great job, Zach. Great to hear your success stories there. It's probably the mustache that closes all the deals. That's my guess. I don't know.
My
But
closing ratio has gone up the last month, I'll have to say.
hats off to you, sir, and your commitment, your success, and all the deals that you're closing. So it's great to hear that information there.
Well, Zach, you said something that made me think of, you know, competitors. Like you said, you're earning that trust of the other folks. I do want to bring it up. And again, Jenny and I are probably a little bit biased too, because we love BNI. There are some networking organizations out there that say they're like BNI. So for example, I shared with you, I own the Alaska franchise. We have a group out there that constantly says, oh, we're just like BNI, but they don't meet weekly. Okay, so they meet every other week. And believe it or not, we've even tried it in BNI to have chapters that meet every other week. They meet half the time, but they pass a quarter of the referrals. So it does not work. BNI Lite does not work. So that matters. Or they'll say, oh, well, we do it, but you know, we just go to lunch, or you don't have to pay a fee for that. Again, there's a small accountability piece. It's really easy if I don't have skin in the game financially to just not show up. So these groups that sometimes say they're like BNI, they're not, because it's usually people that left BNI or potentially told to be successful somewhere else. They try to create something, and then they take the things that they might not have liked, and then it just fails. So BNI has been around for over 36 years. We're the largest, and in my opinion, the best still. But I just want to forewarn you, because sometimes people be like, oh, BNI doesn't work. Well, then when you find out they never actually were a BNI member, they went to one of those like BNI chapters, and that's why it didn't work. So I want to forewarn you about some of that competition stuff in there.
Two things I just want to add real quick. And I think, Zach, you touched on this, you know, getting to earn the trust and sharing a story. If you go in there on day 1 and day 2 trying to hard sell, oh yeah, I just need your bill and I can cut your bill in half, and what's your address? It's like, people don't like that. They get turned off by that. So earning their trust, making a friend, finding a commonality in that one-to-one, just go to a coffee or go to a lunch and get to know them. 1 per week is all that, you know, BNI recommends. So that's a big thing to do. And then if you're not already in a BNI, like Michelle said, visiting 1, 2, or 3 chapters around you that don't have a solar professional, you want to see maybe this chapter has a roofer and a painter and a termite guy. And this chapter has an accountant and a CPA and a bookkeeper and a financial advisor, right? So you can strategically see what individuals are in which chapters. And if you have better success with your trades, like if there's a roofer and a painter and electrician, I mean, termite, those are pretty darn good for solar. So learning to target those people that give you the most referrals and working with them. And you can even take it to the next level and create a power team where the trades people in that chapter goes to meet on a separate meeting. That's like next level. Is that power team, Michelle? Yeah. So just some more recommendations. And then real quick, Nick, are you out there? Are you able to unmute? Nick Lee?
I'm here. I'm here.
Did you want to just share what you typed to me about closing a deal and getting a commercial lead? And
Yeah, I shared that with Michelle and then I sent it to you, Jonathan. Sorry. I joined BNI Business Builders in San Jose last month, and I had taken a look at BNI back in February after Jonathan's presentation, and maybe it was timing, maybe it was just the different groups, but there were 2 other chapters that I just didn't feel a connection with. And Jenny sent me a message, and I was reinterested and reached out to the San Jose group and immediately connected with almost everybody in that first meeting. I got calls, I got text messages right out of that meeting. And the VP of the chapter set a one-on-one with me, and we closed contracts 3 days later before I was even a member.
Wow.
And yeah, we're actually looking to install him probably the first week of June. So very excited about that. But there have been other meaningful relationships. There's an architect in the group. There's a couple of trades guy. The architect in the group brought me into a commercial deal. I know Power's not doing commercial, but I have a commercial partner here in Northern California, and we're looking to close that deal this week.
Wow.
And that's all on the referral from BNI. And
Cool.
I've referred out 3 roofing jobs here in San Jose. So BNI has already paid for itself for 2 years.
Wow. Awesome, Nick. Loving that story. Congrats to you, sir.
Thank you.
That is super cool. I see 2 hands raised, and then we'll see if there's any other questions and then start to wrap it up here. Jenny, would you like to share or ask?
I would, thank you. I have been in lots of meetings in the last several years in my role, and one of the best analogies that we've discussed is going to the gym. And because to your point, Michelle, a lot of times people will say, this doesn't work, or this sounds like a lot of work. And if you work the system is really great. And the best analogy that I have heard of or thought of is if you go into a gym and you see somebody who is totally ripped and they're lean and strong, and this guy is just killing it. Yeah, exactly. That's what made me think of it, Jonathan. Exactly. Was you. And you're in there and you're saying, what do I need to do to look like you? Because you've clearly got it going on. And he says, well, I'll tell you, I don't eat ice cream. I do, 60 minutes of cardio every day, and I hit the weights, and I do the classes, and I do all these different things. You have to examine your motivation. If you would look at that guy and go, nah, I'll just keep eating potato chips on the couch. Thanks. I don't really think that's going to work for me. So then you go to the gym and you only sit on the bike. You don't know that there are weights. You don't know there's a Zumba class. You don't know that there's Pilates. You can explore so many of the resources, but if you never leave one spot and you don't take the advice of the people who have been successful before you, then you're probably not going to get the same results. But I'll tell you, this is a well-appointed gym that we are running here, and there is something for everybody in here. And if you work it, it will work for you. And we hear stories like you're hearing today over and over and over again. And I just think, let's just get beefed up together and make your businesses successful. That's what we want to help you do.
Love that analogy, Jenny. Thank you so much. Mitch, question? Share.
Yeah, I do. First of all, Jonathan, I want to say thank you for hosting these BNI training, and Michelle for what you did for your part. It's important. I really appreciate it. So I was in a BNI chapter with another solar company for 4 years, and I did a little business. I was in a bad territory for solar. I live in the Central Valley, California, and it was a TID utility territory I was in. Couldn't hardly, I did sell a few systems there, but it wasn't ideal for me. Anyway, I had zero support from the company I was working with. They were not pro BNI and thought it was ridiculous I was in that chapter. So it was like, I was like on an island out there. So I was happy to find out that Power is fully behind BNI, and I really appreciate that. Anyways, recently, I was away then for a couple of years from BNI. I recently joined a chapter in Manteca. It's a little ways from me, but it's PG&E territory, so one reason I went there. So I've got about a half an hour drive once we start in-person meetings. But I guess my question was, when I joined, I decided to use my own personal company name, which is the Solar Wizard. You can see it in my background. Is that, what do you guys think about that? And should I change it to Power? What's the, I just want to get some input here on that, whether that's a good idea for me or whether I should think about changing that. The chapter I'm in is just forming. We're still, I think it's called a core group. We only have 11 members at the time, so we should, I will be a founding member once we get going. And then also, how about the ambassador program? Do you guys talk to BNI peeps about ambassador? Should I be pushing that within BNI? I guess that's two of the questions I have, so.
Okay. Yep, I will answer two of those, or I will answer both of those, I guess. So the first and foremost is I would definitely put power somewhere in your company name. And the reason for that is when we send out any of those like special coupon codes for a BNI conference, or if we're doing a special training, the way I pull that is I search for the word power in the company name. So what some of you have done, I've seen a few of you, you have like, Solar Wizard, or sorry, Power DBA Solar Wizard, or Solar Wizard and offset of Power or something. I would somehow blend the two, so because you will not get an email from me knowing that you're from Power unless it's in that, or not just me, but even any of the discounts that we do, any of the other stuff that we do. So make sure somewhere in your business name is Power.
Okay, thank you.
Secondly, as far as the ambassador program, so I'm going to talk about this on two levels. Yes, you can talk about it, but don't oversell it. So technically in BNI, when we look at any type of like multi-level marketing companies, you're really there to offer the products and services, not the business opportunity. And the reason you need to be careful about it, and I know none of you would do this, and this is a different company that I'm using. I had a member, she was from a nutrition supplements company. She was a member in my chapter, and we went to have a one-to-one. And I thought we were truly having a one-to-one. It basically turned into a 45 sales pitch, her bringing, this is a calendar, but her bringing her deck of like, here's what you're going to make, and here's this, and this is all you have to do, and that kind of stuff. And it got to the point that it was really quite uncomfortable because I didn't want what she was selling. And then she was like, oh, your husband's a wrestling coach, he should sign up and he should be a salesperson and he can sell this to all of his high school wrestlers and all their parents, and it was like crazy. And finally I said to her, I was like, Joe, I really have to go. I will sign up just to sign up if that's what it means to you, to get me to be able to leave this meeting so I can go to my next meeting. And she was like, okay, great, all you have to do is sign this form, and like she clearly didn't get it. And I was like, okay, fine, this is it. And like at that point I was like, I am never referring her to anyone, even my worst enemy. I don't want to put her on them. So why would I ever refer her to my best client or a prospective member or a prospective client for me, knowing they would have that horrible that horrible experience, right? So that's why I'm saying, I know you guys and gals would never go that extreme, but there is that fine line. You have to be really careful sometimes. And so that's why I'm saying never, just kind of have it as a, oh, and by the way, did you know this kind of thing? And then if they ask you more, then absolutely, but you don't want to always go in with that. And you'll probably find that, I'm sure Nick or some of the other folks and Marissa, you will find that some of those same contact sphere folks are probably more in alignment of wanting to be part of the ambassador program, because they're already you're not adding a bunch of extra work to what they're already doing every day. So that'd be just, if you're doing it, do it nicely.
I would, real quick, I think Nick wants to share too. I would just say, communicate that in the one-to-ones, like, hey, we have a referral program with the financial incentive if you're interested. What you'll find is that 30% of BNI members will say, no, it's okay, I don't need it, let's just help each other, that's all I want. And so I think it's up to you to, craftfully determine who that's a good fit for and who it's not. And like she said, don't lean too hard into it.
Jonathan, I had a
I
question.
agree. I agree 100%. And I think Michelle said it first on sell through as opposed to sell to. And, Marissa hit it on the button. I've tried to get my messaging around what she's saying in her messaging. It's really all about how they can benefit from being your partner. They're the trusted advisors in the group already. And you're trying to join that group. And I've got 12 new ambassadors
That's awesome.
in 3 weeks.
John, I had a question. So if they are interested in that referral ambassador program, right? They do have to fill out the to become an ambassador. How do you transition that so it doesn't feel like you're signing them up
Just
for
text
something?
them or email them your link and just say, this is our free referral program. If you want to get that incentive, I just need you to sign up here. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, if they're asking, like, definitely go into it. The other thing you can use for like finding ambassadors, indirectly, again, it's that selling through versus always to. Let's say that there's a company in your area that just had massive layoffs, right? Those are people that are looking for other streams of income. Maybe there's a school district that just laid off some teachers, right? Like, then you can go to your BNI chapter and in your weekly presentation say, hey, this week I'm looking for an introduction to the 8 teachers that just got laid off at XYZ high school. I would love to talk to them about how our ambassador program might help them replace their income. So you can use that as a way to get referrals without saying, hey, you want to be an ambassador yourself.
Yes, it's amazing. You can stand in front of a room of 40 people and say, I'd like to meet the director of this church. And 2 of us in the room just happen to know that director. So you can literally say who you want to meet. Be specific in your ask. One other thing, I made a second home. I was in Glendora's Route 66 BNI, but I visited Claremont and I was a substitute. If one of their members couldn't make it, I would sub. Now I know you're supposed to only go twice, but I went a few times and I made connections in a second BNI that didn't have a solar professional. So if you've been in your chapter for a little bit, I highly recommend visiting another local chapter that doesn't have a solar person and make a few friends, grab those business cards, add them on social media, especially in your trades. So something for y'all to think about. Any more questions for Michelle, guys, before we wrap it up with a few more slides? Any last questions? Randy's good. All right, Michelle, well, type in any other questions for her if you guys have any. Super appreciate you being here today and everything BNI is doing for us and all the success stories we've had. And if you are not in it, highly encourage you to take a look at it and invest in yourself and invest in your business. So big thank you, Michelle and Jenny, for being here. All right, guys, I just have a few last minute announcements before we wrap up and get out of here. All right, thank you, BNI again, and Michelle. So June 11th and 12th, this is pretty cool, Force of Nature. Alex, the guy who climbed El Capitan, the world's largest rock, free climbing, no ropes, insane, is gonna be live on stage June 11th and 12th for our 2-day live convention from the Media Center headquarters. Lots of product announcement, new customer announcements, some of the coolest speakers. So definitely sign up for the Force of Nature if you can make it. And
Is that your birthday?
June 11th is my birthday. Yes, Anthony. You can send your gifts to, no, I'm just kidding. Last month for the 12-month free no payment promotion, literally is the last few days here. So feel free to hit on home with this and try to get some more last minute sales. Next month, if you need to, you can do up to a $5.99 homeowner rebate in the proposal, if that's a promotion you wanted to add. Little last minute future trainings here. This Thursday, the free movie premiere of Free Solo. This Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, Power will be broadcasting it so we can all hop on and watch a movie this Thursday. Friday, there's a Q&A like always, 11 a.m. Pacific with Bobby Smith. And just a reminder for all the mentors out there, 12 p.m. Pacific every Monday, there's a mentor call that you need to be on. Some future events, we'll continue to have Tuesday trainings here. We're going to do some recruiting, team building, donating campaigns, real estate, lead gen, and some roof training. So more trainings to come every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific. Feel free to jump on. And then lastly here, our California tour is coming up. So June 8th will be the first in-person recruiting, team building, power hour event, 6:30 p.m. in Anaheim at Decades Restaurant and Bar. Charles Thompson will be there and Bobby Smith will be there. So bring a friend, bring someone interested in selling renewable energy, and we'd love to see you June 8th. Also, these dates are tentative, but will be finalized fairly soon. June 15th, 16th, and 19th will be in Northern California. 22nd, San Diego. 23rd, 4th, and 6th of June will be in Southern California. So these are events, training and business opportunity events that you can build into, invite people to, attend, make a trip out, take some pictures, get some media content, and build your team, build your business, and recommend BNI to everybody. All right. Well, that wraps up today training on BNI. Again, thank you, Michelle, and all the people that have shared your testimonials, your success. We look forward to everyone getting in BNI, having more sales, increasing our professionalism, our public speaking, and helping to panel the planet. Let me go ahead and stop the recording.